So what are some of the most common mistakes you see people making?
I think one of the most common mistakes is following LinkedIn's advice, quite frankly.
Hey, this is Pip. I'm here with my man AJ. AJ Wilcox is the #1 dude on the planet for LinkedIn advertising, which is why I wanted to have this chat with him. Because AJ, I hear from so many people that LinkedIn advertising just sucks. The cost per click is ridiculously high, while the click-through rate is so low. So can anybody make money on LinkedIn?
Yes, you absolutely can make money on LinkedIn, but there is a little bit of a trick to it. So just as you've heard, the cost per click is obscenely high compared to other platforms. In general, what we see is a $6 to $9 cost per click, which is high. In some Google Ads industries, you might see cost per click getting that higher. But in social, we're used to Facebook, where you have $1.50, $2 clicks, kind of at the maximum.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, because it costs more to get in, what it means is you've got to be able to make more money on the back end in order to have a return on your investment.
Right. So for building an outbound sales team, they typically say that your minimum annual contract value should be like $10,000 to make sales teams work. So what's like the minimum ballpark for LinkedIn advertising?
So we've seen people make it work with less, but what I generally tell people is if you're going to earn $15,000 or more when you close a deal, LinkedIn ads makes a ton of sense pretty much every time.
15,000, that's high. So like if my product is $200, no chance?
Not unless they're going to stick around for a long time and you're okay footing that bill for a long time to earn your investment.
Got it. So it's typically like enterprise, B2B software. Like who's the best fit typically? What do you see?
SaaS software makes a lot of sense just because with SaaS software you've got that recurring. Agencies tend to work really well, especially if they're charging $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month. You can make that back pretty quickly in less than a year. That makes a lot of sense. Also, we found devices like medical devices tend to make a lot of sense. Things like refurbished X-ray machines we found. Just anything with a high contract value makes a lot of sense.
Got it. So no $1 trinkets, no print business cards online, web hosting, none of that crap.
Nope, that stuff just does not pay off.
All right, let's say that I have a SaaS software. I have a plan, enterprise plan. I'm good to go. So what will be like the top 5 things I should do to make sure that my LinkedIn experiment works out?
Yeah, so I have this acronym I like to use called AMMO. Bring your ammo to the fight. So you have your audience, your message, and your offer. Your audience, it's going to be pretty straightforward. LinkedIn has by far the best business-to-business targeting of any platform. You're going to look in there and it's going to become immediately apparent who your people are. Number 2, your message is really just a distilled version of what your landing page says or what your offer is.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't worry too much about that. We can talk about the different ad units you have available. But the third part, the offer, this makes 100% of the difference in your campaign. In general, if you go too high
high in terms of cost, or
we'll go like the offer, how friction prone it is. So high, meaning really low friction, would be something like read my blog post or view this infographic. And that's very low commitment by anyone.
Yeah.
And the very bottom would be, here, talk to my high pressure sales rep, really high friction.
Got it.
If you go too high, you don't have a strong enough call to action on a blog post, you're generally going to have a very low conversion rate, meaning a very expensive cost per conversion. If you go all the way to the bottom where you're telling someone, write to my sales rep or take a demo or hop on this trial, that's going to be really high commitment and it's going to have a low click-through rate, meaning LinkedIn's just going to shut it off. So what you need to have is an offer that's somewhere in the middle, what I'll call that chunky middle, where you get enough interest that people are willing to click on it, and an offer that's a call to action that's strong enough that people will actually convert. So that's going to be things like, here's this free checklist or a free cheat sheet or join this free webinar or attend a free in-person event. Something like that people are saying, that's valuable enough to me that I'm willing to give my personal information for that.
Got it. So it's an email opt-in offer.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Do you ever see people just asking for money straight up, or?
Yeah, because you're only going to pay when someone clicks, for the most part, we tell people, hey, let's test any call to action you have. Because if you have a product that's so revolutionary or disruptive that people haven't heard of it before and there's some latent demand, yeah, sure, they'll hop on the phone with a sales rep because they've never heard that this product existed and they're excited to hear from you. But that's so rare. I mean, I would say 5% of the time you can get away with a really heavy ask.
Right. So they have different ways to advertise. There's like link, text ads, banner ads, sponsored email. So which one works the best? When should you use what?
So 95% of the time, I'm telling people start with sponsored content. These are the ones that are going to appear right in their user feed. They're going to appear both on desktop and on mobile. No matter where you're viewing LinkedIn, you're going to see these. And they have some of the highest click-through rates. That's going to get you a click somewhere in the $6 to $9 range. So that's just what you can plan on. And I say 95% of advertisers can start there. The next place that I say people can go to is you go to text ads, because they are by far the cheapest cost per click of any ad out there. But they have a really, really low click-through rate, so you've got to have a pretty sizable
like 0.000 something.
It's like 0.025% is the average, and that's 2.5 out of every 10,000 times they're seen. So yeah, obscenely low click-through rates, meaning if you've got a super targeted audience of 30,000 people, you'd be lucky to spend $10 in a week.
Yeah.
The beautiful part about this ad unit is it's desktop only. So if you have a landing page experience that's not great for mobile, this is the only way to go. And then finally, as you mentioned, sponsored in-mail. This is the newest ad unit that we got access to. They are by far the most expensive ad unit on LinkedIn because you're paying per send, not per click. So you send it to someone's box. You paid 40 to 80 cents usually to send it to someone. It's going to have a 50% open rate on average, and it's going to have an 8% click-through rate after
still pretty good.
Not too bad, but considering that when you work out the math, you're at like a $12 to $24 cost per click. So for the most part, I say that works really well if you have a very special offer, something that makes you feel, because of who you are in the industry, we want to give you special access or a sneak peek or come to this free event where you get to network with your peers. Those kinds of offers tend to work really well. Otherwise, they can just be pretty expensive.
So what are some of the most common mistakes you see people making?
I think one of the most common mistakes is following LinkedIn's advice, quite frankly. LinkedIn will give you advice that is, hey, we're going to give you this range of bids that you should do, and they're going to quote you really high. For the majority of advertisers who don't have massive budgets, I think you're probably okay to bid pretty low and fill your budget up with cheap clicks as opposed to filling your budget very quickly with expensive clicks. So LinkedIn's going to tell you bid $8, $9, $12, $15. Start near the minimum. If it says the minimum's $5, go $5.25, $5.50. It's a good place to start, and just see. And if you can't naturally spend your budget at those at that bid, sure, you can raise it, but start low. Don't overpay.
So you see, this is what I always say. Don't just follow best practices blindly. And if you want more interviews like this, subscribe to my channel.